The Fargo Five. I'm Conrad Fargo. We are here with Peter Schott from the International Potluck. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
You're the potluck guy. Is this... how do I say this? Is this your job? Is this like what you do now? I mean, you're doing it every month. Do you have something else that actually pays the bills?
Yeah,
I mean, how do you...
My day job, I do North America sales for a tech company.
Okay.
So I'm selling operations and formulation software in the animal feed space.
Wow.
That's my day
really?
job. Yep.
Wow. Yep. I've got a good friend who does, gosh, what does he do? It's like sunflowers.
Okay.
Is that related?
Not really. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds similar, just the way you said it. Okay. Anyway, this show is very popular. I don't know if you're aware of that. We get listener mail. I mean, it just, my inbox, I had to create my
Explodes,
own.
yeah.
I mean, it's just, they send it to the Fargo Five at Gmail.
Well, there's a crowd of people waiting outside.
Also
wonder
true.
who was the guest today and autographs. Yeah.
Did you sign?
I made my way through it, yeah.
Yes, very good. That's kind of you to sign and acknowledge the little people as you are so Fargo famous.
They're huge fans of the show.
Well, were they here for me? Were they here for you? Which came first, chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
It's a good question. So I get asked the same questions kind of over and over again. Mm-hmm. So I've just kind of compiled the list of the most common questions so that I can just kind of randomly pick one.
There we go.
And ask it of our very famous guest.
All right.
To ask the very famous questions. So, first question here. Do you get paid for what you are good at or for what your customer is bad at?
Wow, that's a good question. Do you get paid for what you're good at or what your customer is bad at? I don't know if you'd want to frame it up as good or bad, but it's all about perspective.
Okay.
Right? Because they're in their own world trying to solve their own problems with the information that they have. Mm-hmm. And so myself and my team come in and say, okay, you're doing things this way, but if you did this or that, or tweaked a little bit, you could have these improvements in your business. So it's kind of a mixture of, it's more about perspective than it is good or bad.
I like that answer very much. Who's the most famous person you've ever met in Fargo? We do have famous people coming through every once in a while. I don't know that they stop by. We go to the Fargo Dome. You go to the Fargo Dome a lot, or you're not a big concert goer?
I do sometimes, yeah. Okay, so the most famous person I've ever met, like Fargo famous or just famous in general?
Who would be the person you've met who is known by the most people?
Well, this is more, maybe it might have a niche thing, but I have a cousin who's a pro wrestler.
Oh, you do?
He's a retired pro wrestler. He was WWF champ for seven years back in the day. Wrestled in Japan for a long time.
No way.
Bob Backlund is his name.
Bob Backlund.
And he wrestled. He was an NDSU alum, and he also wrestled. He came back into Fargo with the WWE and wrestled here a number of years ago.
Do you know much about Below Zero Wrestling here in town? Nick Stokey, previous guest of the show.
Oh, yeah?
He does the local professional wrestling in town here. And he, I wonder, so does your cousin still do any of that stuff?
He's retired now, but he had a long career as a pro wrestler.
What was his wrestler name?
Just Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund, come on, they always have like some kind of a crazy I
don't think he had
the Undertaker.
I don't think he had a name like it. Was just
Bob Hulk
Backlund.
Hogan, just Bob Backlund, and he was on the WWE.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna send this clip to Nick.
Yeah.
Because he's like a huge fan.
He'll know who he is.
Yes, and we had another previous guest of the show. Oh my goodness! And see what I'm saying about the names?
Yeah.
He was actually one of the wrestlers, previous guest of the show, who Nick sent over here. He was an amazing guest as well. Okay. So your cousin is the most famous person you met?
Yeah.
I guess. Okay. All right. Yeah. Fargo is a humble town. We don't get a lot of super exciting people that come through maybe, but it's a great place to live.
It is. Yeah. 100%.
How does Fargo for you compare to the Dominican Republic? It's got to be a big difference.
Polar opposites in terms of the energy. The things in the Dominican Republic are very, very chaotic. Very just don't know what to expect. A lot of loud music blasting everywhere. Kind of the traffic is just insane.
Yeah.
Everything is just a lot more expressive. I would say, whereas here,
People are more reserved.
You're more reserved, yeah.
Well, and I think that maybe comes to the next question. Are Fargo people actually friendly? Is Midwest nice a thing?
I think people here are genuinely, I think they're genuinely friendly, and they genuinely like care and have compassion for people that are hurting. I don't think Midwest nice is nice. I think it's a more of a passive aggressive. I don't want to have confrontation, and so I will avoid it at all costs. And I think in the long run that can cause a lot more problems than what it.
You're more direct.
I'm more like, hey, let's just, if there's something going on, let's just talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. When and I think obviously my wife is Japanese, and the Japanese are also famously passive aggressive.
Yeah.
And yes, I
maybe
think
subtle is a nicer way to put it too.
Yeah. Well, and Japanese also famously get along well with Midwestern Americans for some reason. I think it might be that culture of subtlety.
Yeah.
I like that spin on it. As opposed to direct. So would you consider yourself a really direct person?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. You get in a lot of but you don't strike me as a person who's in a lot of confrontations.
I'm not a huge fan of, I don't want to argue just for the sake of arguing, but if I have an opinion about something or someone's asking me about something, I'll just be like, hey, here's what's going on, and I would expect the same back from someone. Just be direct, be respectful, and clear about it. There's a way you can do it that I think is respectful.
All right. Well, that is all the frequently asked questions we have time for. We are going to move on to everybody's favorite segment next, Fargo Favorites, right after this intermission. So don't go nowhere.